Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of Frail Conversations. And today, as you're seeing from the title, we're going to be talking about Hekau. That word is pronounced Hekau, Hekau. It is pronounced Hekau or Hekau, right? So Hekau are words of power, right? And words of power are they're words of power kind of deeper than words, but they are on a vibrational frequency where you have associated something with that word that has created a different reality for you, or that can create a reality for you, or can destroy a reality for you, right? There's lots of words that we have in our lexicons. There's lots of words that we associate with. Some words are more important and more impactful than others. Some words um you know, fly by us, but all of the words affect us in some way, shape, or form, depending on how we associate with them. This episode is kind of like gonna be like a I ain't gonna say transcendental type episode, but this is a bit of the content and shit that I usually keep for myself, because of the elevation and the level of which the knowledge is behind it. But I felt like with the next couple seasons, I'm more so going to be trying to transition into giving y'all that shit. So why not start now and test the waters and see if you feel me, y'all could really fuck with it on that level. Um, and if not, I'll pull the fucking shit back and save it for another time. But for now, I felt like this is a very powerful episode that needs to be had because one thing that I've noticed about one thing that I noticed just from my own perspective, um, is that when you develop a mantra, right? When you develop some kind of system of repetition, repetitive speech, right? When you have some kind of systemized version of that, it helps you stay focused and solidify yourself on some automatic type shit. It helps you constantly realign. Um, Me personally, I fucks with it on 100%. I'm not even gonna be on no shit like, oh, I don't do. Yes, I fucks with mantras. I make my own mantra. I made. I created a reality that is, that can be summed up in a word. And I feel like as men, not even as well as people, but because it's so for conversations, I feel like as men, we should we should be able to do that. We should be able to define our reality with the word, right? Whether anybody else is looking at the word or not and can see all that we can see, and it don't matter, is what it represents for us. And a lot of this came to me largely because, branding, advertising, marketing, different things like that. Uh, when you're developing philosophies and shit, like less is more. But oftentimes, if you can flip it, less is more, but I like to look at it from a slightly different perspective, largely semantics. But like, I like to see the simplicity and complexity, right? Or vice versa, right? So basically, less is more. Finding and bringing shit down to the smallest point. And as men, we need that as a codified version of ourselves. I feel like that should be a part of our rites of passage as men. But the reason why I'm saying that is because as I watch the level of, I watch a lot of greatness. I look at a lot of greatness, right? And I see that every great person that I've ever seen, ever studied, especially the athletes, they all have a hekau. They have a word, they have a hekau, a word of power or a mantra, uh, or some kind of, they have something that they can abide by that keeps them centered. You feel me? On the outside looking in, we can hear the word or we can see their mantra and shit and try to use it, but it don't hit the same as when they use it. Biggest example that I could think of is, Mamba mentality or Black Mamba. It don't mean the same for us that it meant for Kobe. You feel what I'm saying? So when he tapped into Mamba mentality because he created it. See, the creator is always gonna have a different expression of the experiencers. You feel what I'm saying? And no matter how much the experiencers can understand about the creation, they will never understand they will never understand the creation the way the creator does. And that is in a way how Hekau works. The words of power. When you get to a word, when you get to a creation within yourself and you start to understand who you are, you create that. So no matter where you are in life, no matter what's going on, you can utter that and bring that back to yourself. Right. But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram _just_sing _ Be sure to check out my website at iamjustsing.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the podcast, not the episode or the podcast itself. As always, Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And you know the vibes. That's that for this, and that's this for that. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna dive into So Frail Conversations. Hekau. And don't forget to visit iamjustseen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit iamjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit iamjustseen.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit iamjustseen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at iamjustseen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit iamjustseen.com. All right. Welcome back. And without further ado, we're going to dive straight heavy into this. And so, as I said, Hekau are words of power. If I don't know how long y'all been rocking with me, but if you've been rocking with me since maybe 2016-ish, 17-ish, you used to always hear me say or see me type on social media, Sia who and Heka. I think divine, I speak divine, I do divine, right? So the Heka part, the Hekau is the divine speech, right? Hekau are words of power, divine speech, right? In ancient Kemet, I'm not going to be on the Hotep shit the whole time, but it's necessary here. In ancient Kemet, they spoke a language called the Metu Neter, right? Which is the divine speech. Okay. The divine speech can be not simplified, but it can be, it can be, I'm going to have to say simplified because I don't want to say reduced because it's not lowered, it's not lessened. I would say it can be simplified into divine speech can be simplified into, of course, Hekau, but Hekau is more so the utterances that are tied to vibration, right? So the language was more so codified not by the words themselves, but the vibration that the words can give, right? So, for example, Hekau is in a sense, the strongest word that can be created from a string of consonants and vowels based off of this ideation. You feel what I'm saying? So the word, it was the energy and how you can invoke the highest form of the energy, because you got to think the universe, God, Allah, Jehovah, Krishna, Buddha, Yeshua, whatever it is that we honor and we worship, right? They don't speak English. They don't speak Aramaic. Like, even if they did, like, you got to think of what language does your deity speak? All of them speak English. You feel me? You grow up and shit and you hear shit like that. Like, yo, what language does your deity speak? I've asked that question twice in church and nobody answered. They was like, well, they speak your language. Well, what's my language? I speak the language that was forced upon me from slavery. So it's like, what is the language that they speak? Energy. And it's the energy that you infuse with the words you speak. Right. And the energy that you infuse with the words you speak is increased by what you associate with that energy. Right. So again, this is one of those things where it's like I was reluctant to share this because this is an intimate space, but at the same time, I'm kind of coming into that space. You got to give to gain. So I've reached a point where I'm at a new space where I can gain more spiritually, so I can give more, spiritually. So it's no mystery that my mantra, my Hekau is peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, right? Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom has now been condensed into palakafe, to one word, right? This is now we're going to go into the science and the metaphysical science behind Hekau, right? So the energy of a word, right, can one be tied to the emotions and feelings, right, or the thoughts associated with it, right? When you tie something to your feelings, of course, you have to be in those feeling spaces for it to have its highest impact. So I never encourage making a hekau or creating your words of power associated with what you feel, because you're not always going to feel it. But your thoughts will always remain. The reason being your thoughts will remain unless you of course change your mind. But in changing your mind, your hekau will change too. You feel me? For example, one hekau that I have, like my ultimate hekau is peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. But at a time in my life, I used hekaus that were made for me. See, this is something that happens to a lot of us, right? And I even have it tattooed on me. And I have a lot of people like, yo, you're going to eventually get it removed. Or no, I'm not. I'm going to keep it. It's a timestamp. I am not going to get it covered up. Nothing. You feel me? So what's on my arm is Philippians 4:13, which is a Bible verse that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I was in that mental space. I was in that space when I got that. That was a hekau, right? But the problem with that hekau was that in the moment, I didn't know that it was very problematic like that, like affirming and solidifying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? For one, not realizing. And that was a powerful thing because a lot of people hear it and they think it says, they think they're talking about Jesus. The verse does not even mention Jesus' name. It says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. If you read So Frail 3, you got into noir phobia, and we talked about the Messiah and Christ and Christos, you know that Christ means anointed. Anointing is the highest elevation of the self, right? So this is what I'm saying about how sometimes the hekau can change, but still, you know what I mean? So I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying that I'm not going to get it covered up, but they were like, well, the verse says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? You can flip it and say, I can do all things through Christ consciousness who strengthens me. And I was like, that's really what it meant. And it hit me like, damn, why didn't I catch that at first? So, but I guess on an unconscious level, I did catch it. And so in affirming that, right, but not really knowing from the higher perspective, but in affirming that, it was like, if I can only do things through Christ who strengthens me, I can only do things with Jesus's power at the time. And in only doing things with Jesus's power, the most that I can do is what I was permitted to do that fit within the realm of what was permissible in the church. Sometimes we don't even realize that that's what's happening to us. So a lot of the verses, a lot of the things that we speak over ourselves, and that's why the script is about making sure you know what you shouldn't do, not what I shouldn't do. It's about you. So I can constantly tell you shit, right? Because now it puts affirmations over you. You feel me? So when you tie words have power, when you tie and you create your hekau, there's certain things that go with that, right? Because they have to shatter old realities too. You feel me? So tying it into like religion, like tying it into that. So I had that hekau. That was a word, that was words of power that was over me. You feel what I'm saying? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But if I didn't have Christ's strength, I couldn't do all things. When you mentally have already, like, that's one thing people don't understand about spirituality. Most of spirituality is tied to your imagination. So the things, and I know a lot of people, no, it's not spirituality. No, it's spirituality is tied to your imagination. It's your creative side. It's literally your creative side. This is why it's so affected, because your spirituality and your presence is tied to your imagination. That's why when you ask people what a deity sounds like, they describe it from their imagination based off of how their environment, how their word has shaped how they're supposed to view their deity. Every person I know who has ever said that they seen God in their dream or whatever the case may be, it's always the same description that is almost parallel to the description of Moses seeing God in the Bible, where when he thought he seen him, he turned and they woke up just before. They couldn't see his face because he was so bright. It was the exact, like, when you internalize a hekau, want to empower it now. And when you internalize hekau, which is words that you constantly speak, and things you constantly read and things that you constantly absorb verbally, it hits into your unconscious mind as an energy. And now that energy creates and reverberates within your imagination and creates the thoughts that create your reality. So even when your unconscious mind is not active, these things will play themselves out. You feel what I'm saying? When we don't create our own Hekau, it binds us. So check this out. I'm not gonna go there just yet. So if we don't create our own Hekau, it binds us, right? But what is it binding us to? Right. So now we have to get into the whole point of language. Right. All of this is going to tie in and is going to get real important. Like language, a lot of people they say, okay, we learn language or that language is everything, but it's nothing at the same time. You're supposed to use language to understand how you express frequency, how you express energy. That's it. That's it. Like you learn the different syntax of languages like commas and pauses and questions and shit for the inflections and all of the shit so you can understand how the language is performed. But at the end of the day, the language is supposed to get you to see how energy is delivered. You feel me? You ever heard the phrase, it's not what you say, it's how you say it? Motherfuckers really be more worried about how you say something than what you say. This is why you can say this is why you can deliver some bullshit. But if you say it the right way, it'll be delivered right. But why you get this is why the truth hurts. It's why the truth hurts, because the truth cannot be delivered nicely. It never has and never will be. You feel me? But in a sense, those are hekau. So when you understand the language is how the language is the contract of the tongue, right? Because we could break it down etymologically. Lang comes from the ling root or whatever lingual means tongue, right? But gauge means to contract or to engage with, to come in contact with, like contract of some sort, like a mortgage of what else? Mortgage, like anything with that GAGE ending or whatever is like basically a contract. But mortgage is a funny contract. 'Cause that's a death contract because mort means death. And you feel me? 30-year mortgage. You're in a 30-year death contract. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. I ain't mad at it because you got to do what you got to do. But I'm just saying how they play this and we didn't even know. Again, Hekau. Hekau. Everybody says there's life and death in the power of the tongue, but people don't even understand the words the tongue speaks. So how can you understand it as life? How can you use the life and death in it? But anyway, we bring it back. So language is built like that, right? But language is supposed to get you back to the point where you understand that all of the energy tied to this specific event or this thing is how this word is developed, right? So when this word is spoken, it just associates with this. So this is why it's important to understand vocabulary. It's important to understand etymology because then words, the energy of that word can't be used against you or used on you. You feel what I'm saying? So when I'm saying language, it doesn't matter what language you speak. You're supposed to the goal of the language is to get to a point where you understand the energy behind the language. Like when you can get to a point of understanding the energy behind the language, you don't even have to really understand what a motherfucker is saying to you. You can feel what they're saying to you in the context of, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you may be struggling if you like, but if you actually sit and feel, don't listen, but feel what they're saying, you can probably get to some kind of consensus because there's some of the words will overlap, some of the words will sound the same, and but the energy, you can feel what this person is saying. It's on a whole different level and a whole deeper vibration, but it comes with understanding how the power of words. But that even comes with the creation of a word of power. You feel what I'm saying? So when we take on the languages that we've taken on, this is another thing that this is why we don't speak any of the languages that we originally had. You feel me? It's crazy because they took away our languages, our culture. They made us believe we was coming from Africa and shit. And some of us did. Some of us were here. And now it's coming out. Like some of y'all that so much shit gets trumped. But the purpose that I'm saying the shit that I'm trying to put into perspective on two and two is that when they gave us these languages, they knew what they were doing because they knew that us when we spoke, we didn't talk, we spoke. So when we spoke, we understood the exact word we were saying and every form of energy tied to that word. So when we spoke it, we meant what we said and we said what we meant. There were no synonyms. There were no, that's what you know what I meant. There was no, what you meant is what you said, and what you said is what you meant. You feel me? We're now in the cultural space that has stripped that away from us. You feel me? Like when I started studying the Medu Neter or whatever, and I started looking back, like there were no overlapping words. There were no homophones. There were no words that were spelled similarly. There was no words like that. But you get English and you get that. You get any Latin, you get the derivatives of the Latin language and you get that. You feel me? You can use this word for this word. No, you can't. No, you can't. But it makes sense why they feel like that because they'll translate names. But the word is supposed to be the word for a reason. I can be called anal, picky, or whatever the case may be. I'm well versed with this because I'm like, yo, that's the word for a reason. Because when you change the word, you change the energy tied to that thing. That's a whole different rabbit hole you can go down. A pen versus a marker. You can write with the shit. Nah, but it's a pen. It's an expo pen, but it's a marker. You don't write on paper with it. Well, you can, but you know what I'm saying? Like you're not scripting with paper. You know what I mean? It doesn't have ink in it. So it's like, but it's you know what I know. I know what you said. And that's why communication gets fucked up with a lot of people. You feel me? Because they don't understand the depths and the power of words. But in that, the ones who did understand it, they gave us a language that we couldn't understand. And they didn't, in order for us to understand it, you have to simultaneously write it and read it. Right? You have to write it and read it because now you have to understand what this means, get the vocabulary and all that shit, go deeper to it. Origins of words are very important as well. So all of this has to. So the reason why I'm saying this is because as we go through this process, there's something that you have to remember to develop as you build your Hekau. This is yours. This is yours. And I'm telling y'all to build this because these are things that are going to help you in life and keep you centered. Palakafe, when I say that shit, or when I say peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, it's for me. I'm gonna get to what they all mean. I've already broken it all down, but I'm gonna get to how powerful that Hekau is for me. So when I say it, it's like I'm easily reminded, yo, this is where I need to be. And it's the energy of the word sends vibrations through my body that keeps me in alignment that I'm supposed to be in. Right. But to get that, I had to understand language. I had to understand the fucking English language that I was speaking in the first place and get to the point of understanding that it's all about energy, the energy that is invoked off the words. And the energy is simultaneously connected to your emotions and your thoughts. You feel me? I got an episode sometime back where I was talking about the mind, the emotions and the thoughts coming together to bridge and stuff. So you can go back and check that out. But I'm not gonna dwell on that here. But I'm gonna stick in this vein of our hekaus. You feel me? And so for a one, I mentioned mantras of suppression. You know how many hekaus we've been given over the years that kind of fucked our minds up? Money over bitches. Bitches ain't shit. Fuck these hoes. You feel me? When there's no experience to tie to energy, you can cheat the game by putting music into it. Music will give you energy that experience doesn't have to provide you with. Music can provide you with the energy that experience can give you. That shows you how powerful music is. Music can provide you with the necessary energy to create to create the same outcome as gaining experience would. You feel what I'm saying? If you put the words over the music and set it and let it play enough, versus if you experience the life and create the word and said, this is what it is, like that is very similar to each other. So when you putting money over bitches and you saying money over bitches and you wonder why it's taking over your life and your life doesn't, and it's crazy because your life has to go according to your hekau. When you say money over bitches and you be like, my money good and I'm chilling, I'm up when I'm not fucking with these bitches and shit. But then as soon as I find me one and I start fucking, your mind is programmed for money over bitches. You can only be positive and have a positive outcome out of life when you are living under money over bitches until you have reprogrammed it. Our Hekau, the things that we tie to ourselves and say is wise, right, and exact, those are largely the things that hit our unconscious mind and make us act. So when I tell people it's not what you say, it's not what you say is what you think about the most, because what you think about the most is tied to the energy. That's your lexicon. Those are the words that you constantly envision and speak the most. So now when it's in your unconscious mind and then the action is there, now you're in an environment that makes you always think about a specific set of words. You feel what I'm saying? That's how your lexicon is set. That's how your mindset is set. And that's how your reality then becomes programmed. You feel me? This is no reason why, like, when we look at black church, everybody like, yo, you gotta worship and then you gotta do that's not why. They knew the power of like that's why the pastor only allowed like the slave master only allowed the pastor to preach certain shit. He stood over him and watched as he preached or whatever the case may be. But they knew you guys cannot play the music. You guys cannot play the drum and shit. But when we have the praise worship where we stir the kundalini up and get the energy right, so the messages hit harder and they come and penetrate the soul the right way. The Hekau hits you. So now after that praise dance and everything and all of that shit for years on end, now you hear, you feel me? You hear that slaves honor your master as you would Jesus Christ. That's a Hekau now. That's a Hekau that can transition from the inner being, the outer being, down to the inner being, down through the generation, to the point where the current generation can experience an inferiority complex. And well, one side can experience inferiority complex and the other side a superiority complex simply from the Hekau that have now been programmed into the bloodlines of the generation. This is why one of the reasons why it's important for us to realize that we have to stop in any way, shape, or form affiliating with the slavery of this country. That's all we seem to associate with every fucking year we rename ourselves. We're not slaves. Our ancestors were not slaves. They were people who were enslaved. That's a different Hekau when you realize you was a slave. We were slaves. I wasn't. My people, like, we didn't come from slaves. We happened to be enslaved for a stint of time. That doesn't make me a slave. That doesn't make our ancestors slaves. You see what I'm saying? The soul association and the energy that puts to it. So now when they constantly watch 30 Years a Slave and all of these other fucking doofy ass movies over and over again, the Hekau is performed. The imagery that we see on images is not for the picture. The picture is cool, but it's the word associated with every image you see because now that helps reaffirm it. When there was no like pictures and shit, when you just had to read words and visualize, it was different. Now they do that shit on purpose. 12 Years a Slave and you see a prominent black man. Huh. Django. But see, with Django, you see a black man who's goofy and playful. Django didn't have to put on that blue ass suit. That's one of the things that you remember him for. You remember Steven and shit. Because again, this is how this shit reverberated with these Hekau's, bro. We don't even remember how to make Hekau's no more, how to get back to it. But we're going to get back to it because it's a matter of understanding the language and getting to the core of understanding that language is associated with energy and energy is associated with experience. Simple. Energy is associated with experience. When you go and you're experiencing something and it's like it's your energy, like I don't like the energy in this room or this energy in this room, the vibes is right. Energy is associated with experience. You feel what I'm saying? So your words are used to describe the experience that the energy is associated with. You dig what I'm saying? Time and space tie into this shit too, but I'm not gonna get into that because that's a whole nother episode. But you feel what I'm saying? The words that are associated with this tie into describing the experience and showing what energy, like associating how this energy and this experience go hand in hand. So when we're going through life, when we're building ourselves like piece by piece along the way, there's things that we have to develop within ourselves. Your Hekau is your Hekau is going to be that thing that brings you all the way back, but it's not something that you could just say, "I'm." This is these are the words. Now, I don't want you to feel like your Hekau is like, "I'm going to pick these words, and these are going to be what defines the rest of my life." Your Hekau comes to you. It comes to you by you understanding your life, right? It comes to you by you understanding your life, which means you have to go into those meditative spaces, which means you have to go into those spaces of understanding yourself. You have to deal with the dark shit of who you are. You got to battle your demons and you got to slay them, whatever the fuck y'all want to call the shit these days. You got to do that shit. And you got to get to the good senses of finding the singularity and finding who the fuck you are. Looking at your good shit, looking at your bad shit. You feel me? Seeing the totality of everything that you are and then learning to describe and define your experience. Not just describe it and leave it alone, but describe and define it. That's one of the things that hinder us when it comes to our Hekau. Our Hekau has description but no definition. You feel me? We utter a lot of words that have description but no definition. Case in point, I mean, I'm gonna toot my horn because I'm that dude when it comes to this shit. Look at the way the conversations on masculinity are going right now. The conversation is based off description, not definition. I'm the only one who has a definition. That's why my shit is remaining consistent. That's why these conversations change and they talk about the same thing though. The faces change because there's not like nobody's gonna consistently have a point because they're not understanding, they're not defining the energy too, they're only describing it. You have to describe the energy and define the energy in order to create a Hekau. Otherwise, you'll be uttering a falsified perception that keeps you stuck in a loop that you don't know how to understand and get out of. You feel what I'm saying? The words and shit that we choose to utter on a regular basis, you can say, because you need intentional words. It's not to say, oh, everything I say is intentional. Nah, fuck that. But my Hekau supersedes all the other shit that I say on a regular basis because it's supposed to. That's how it's supposed to be. There's things that are supposed to send to you back that, you know what I mean? That you, whether you are aware of the outer shit or not. You feel me? When you're looking on the inside, right? When you're building yourself, right? You got to build from the inside out. Y'all heard that episode, but in that, who you have to be, who you're becoming, and who you will become, it can be defined up in one word. For one, that one word is your name, but for two, there's a now I ain't gonna say one word, one phrase. I'm only saying one word because I summed it up into polycopy, but literally one phrase, right? One phrase. You have one phrase that can define your entire reality. You're good, you're bad, you're ugly, everything that you've experienced, everything that you've gone through. You feel me? Every challenge that you've exhibited, everything that there's something that is you. You have to find that because in uncovering that and digging into that, that's when you start to discover who you really are. You start to come to terms with the reality that this is me. I am this. Not my descriptions, not my accolades, not my titles. The thing that remain true across the board on all of these things. What is that? What is that energy that remained consistent on all of these positions, no matter where I was? Because no matter where you go, you are who you are, player. So what was the thing that remained the same no matter where I went? Right? No matter where I am, because now I have to put word to that. You feel what I'm saying? I have to put word to that. And as a man, like, I feel like personally, like, when I look at, again, tying it back to the people of success, there's a difference between those who succeed and those who fail. And those who succeed have something that's consistent, something that's consistent that they have branded and they have internalized on a higher level that even if somebody else tried to duplicate it, they couldn't because they don't know the energy behind what this is actually doing. You feel what I'm saying? Biggest example, 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. That was a Hekau for him. For us, it was an album. It was an album title. For him, that was a Hekau. There was no other option for him other than get rich. Because he said, I'm not dying. You feel me? And if I don't get rich, it's because I die. Seeing his story, seeing him get shot, all of this other, like you see now the energy associated with the words that he chose for that. You can't embody that unless you experience it. You don't understand the energy for that experience that was labeled over that. You feel what I'm saying? This is one of the ways that a lot of men get fucked up because of the music that we listen to, the shit that we listen to, the hekau that we internalize is we're taking on the energy of experiences that we don't have. You feel me? Even if they're experiences that we relate to. You feel me? I grew up to motherfuckers saying if you ain't trapping, kill yourself. Trap or die, nigga. They like, I ain't dying, I ain't killing myself. So they was trapping. Those were the hekau, and they all ended up selling drugs and shit. Like, just like that. Ended up selling drugs. And it wasn't because the music told them to do it, but because the music had provided hekau for them. And they had not had a hekau for them that had superseded that. You dig what I'm saying? You need to be able to speak words and have expressions that can supersede the negativity in your life. And not only just the negativity in your life, the repetition in your life. You can utter the powerful words, today's gonna be a good day, today's gonna be a good day. But then when there's natural hekau on a regular basis, it just fucks the day up on a regular basis. It's hard to overcome that. You have to be able to transcend the energy that's fucked up. And like I said, that's where your hekau is coming in because it helps you have to first understand yourself because then you know I'm not supposed to be in certain situations right now. You feel what I mean? The power from words is the energy that is used to define and experience that shape. Like when I tell people about me getting ran over by a car, I can't tell you. I can't give you a word for how that felt. I can't tell you. And even if I had one, you still wouldn't feel it. But the words associated with that event, right, have experience to them that can give energy. You feel me? This is how movies work. Biopics and shit like that. Like the movie translates the experience into energy to give to you to feel it. That's it. That's it. Now I'm using the right words in the script to deliver the message, the energy, to deliver the experience in the form of energy correctly to captivate you. You feel me? And then with all of the hekau that we have, we end the book or the movie, we begin the movie with a title. The title is the first hekau to let you know everything this is right here encompasses everything that's tied to this. Since if we're not going to use hekau or if that's too mystical, what's the title of your life? What's the title of your book? What's the title? Like when they read your book of life, what's it gonna say? A doctor, a scientist, a teacher, a preacher, a student, a lover, a friend. Is there gonna be like what word would you want on that motherfucker? Like we talk about, the dash is the most important piece between, your birth and your death. I don't think so. I mean, between your birth and your death, maybe, but the defining piece of that headstone needs to be the title. What will be your like when you hear that? It's like, yo, that's the sum of that motherfucker's life. You feel me? That's the sum of that person's life, but that's the life the person lived. You're realizing that you have to understand you're realizing and you're living your hekau right now. You're gaining the experience and you just have not applied the words to the energy yet. This is one of the biggest defining moments of why we still walk through lost in life. It's not because we have to find ourselves. We just have to codify what the fuck we found and sit with it and say, this is who I am. Right. And now who I am needs its philosophy. You don't need to get to your 60, 70 years old to say, hey, this is how I lived life. Because you're going to continue living life the same way. It's like, these are the things, these are my morals, these are my values, these are good. It's like, this is what works for me. This is what centers me. This is what makes me the best absolute person I can be. And then you codify that shit. You feel me? For me, Palakafe is the thing, but Palakafe derives from peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom is 4 fucking things that I've acquired. I've desired all my life. I've desired all my life. And Palakafe is the affirmation that I found them because I had to understand what they were. You feel me? Peace is the control, not the absence of the chaos. That's why I say that shit. Love is the power for betterment through correction. Like these are things, these are the 4 pillars that I feel that I like. These are the things that I felt that I needed in my life. So I created my Hekau. Palakafe is my Hekau. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom is my Hekau. Those are my words of power. I extend the power to y'all, and y'all can receive the power, but y'all will never understand or use the power or be able to feel the power the way that I can. Because y'all don't really know the defining moments of when this was where I solidified that I needed peace, or this is where I knew what love really was, or this was where I knew freedom ain't what they've been telling us. You feel me? Speaking of freedom, one of the recent things that I've been saying is that like, yo, people don't want to stop. People don't want to be free. They just don't want to be oppressed anymore. And they calling it freedom. That's a whole different reality. And we get caught up in that shit. But that ties into the Hekau. Like you have to define what you want for your life. And this is where the problematic piece comes in because there has to be a transition. We follow so many other people's quotes, so many other people's Hekaus, and we let them shape who we are. Now, I'm not saying don't use them as inspiration and shit like that, but don't, that's their Hekau. You will never understand why they said what they said until you're them. They can tell you every single piece, but you have to understand. You're not gonna feel the feelings. You're not gonna feel the emotions. You're not gonna feel the necessary things that they have gone through and experienced that made them create and establish and solidify that word. You feel what I'm saying? It's a different world and it's a different game because the way the way in which we treat it, the way in which you treat it, and the way in which it's presented to us, it makes us not take words seriously. Imagine they say sticks and stones break bones, but words will never hurt you. But it's Hekau that has been spoken over you. Like this is what when they say don't let people speak certain shit over you. This is the core because the words have the energy. Don't accept the energy that was just given to you with that word. The only way that I can put energy into is if you accept the word that I'm saying. For one, in order to accept it, you have to understand it and then choose. Now, if you don't understand the word that I said, now I can fuck with you. This is why in the Bible it say if somebody's speaking in tongues, there need to be a translator there. This is what I be telling. I don't know what the fuck they be saying in church, and they be like, oh shatata. Like that's how everybody speaks in tongues. Shatata bo sha shatata oh sha. Like y'all saying the same shit, and y'all ain't saying shit. And then you ask them what they saying. Well, no, that's just my individual language between me and God. He know what I'm. Well, do you know what you're saying to him? No. It's an individual language. If it's an individual language, you should speak it and understand it. What are you saying? You feel me? But that's what it was. That's what it meant to speak in tongues. That's why they said you need a translator present because it meant speaking another language. You should not speak another language around people who don't speak the language because that is deceptive. That is deceptive in the sense that there's now words of there's Hekau that can be put up. Was it this one? Or was it when I was doing the videos? Whatever. I have I have a certain Hekau that I used to speak over myself when I was learning Medu Netter and shit. And Inek it's Inek Nesut Jedu Ireru, right? And what that means is I am a king whose words command action, right? Powerful as Hekau. I am a king whose words command action. I internalized that and I tied the energy to it. And that was my affirmation. I was in Philly and I'm crossing the street or whatever the case may be. And I get called a dude, he say or he make a racial statement, try to, backpedal off the shit or whatever the case may be. And so now, mind you, I'm supposed to be in college or whatever, master's program and shit or whatever. So I'm like, all right. So when he said it, I just look, I stepped back. Now I could have, punched him in the shit, but I already know how it would have went. I was the violent one because the cameras would have came out after he did what he did. So I flipped it. I said, okay, if it's words that you want to play, let's play with words. So I smiled at him. I said, I put my hand on my chest and I said, "E nekne suche dui reru." Try to have a nice life. And I walked away from him. Um, Two things occurred in that situation. When I said Enek Nesuja Dui Reru, I was saying, bitch, you got me fucked up. I'm a king whose words command action. You feel me? That was me centering myself back in a space where I knew I wasn't supposed to be in the first place because, we got to bite our tongues in those spaces and shit. So I said what I said in order to, kind of get my face back, but I said it in a way that he didn't get it. Right. So it stopped and he didn't try to, well, what are you talking about? You didn't speak. I was like, all right. And then I walked away from him. I seen him a couple of days later and shit. Like the motherfucker was like emaciated. Like the motherfucker was like he was stressed. Like what'd you do to me? I ain't do shit to you. The problem is you don't understand the energy because you don't understand the language, right? You don't understand language, therefore you don't understand the word. Therefore you can't comprehend this Hekau power, right? And now you think this is a power against you. So this Hekau power now has fucked with your reality, and I never put anything on you. You put everything on yourself for your lack of understanding. So this is what I'm meaning by when you don't understand the language or the words that are being spoken on you, it fucks with you. It fucks with you. And this is one of the things that I hate that our people go through because we'll say shit like, "Oh, this motherfucker using big words." This is something that always pissed me off because like amongst each other, we'll say this motherfucker trying to confuse people with the big words, but we'll go listen to a motherfucker use the big words and say we're not confused. That don't make no sense to me. Does it make sense to y'all? Anybody? No, it can't. Because how can you in one breath say, you know what I'm saying? I seen it all the time, like the conscious debates and shit. Like this is why this one of the reasons why I kind of quote unquote, I hate to say it like this, I dumb my shit down. You feel me? Because it's like I don't want y'all to feel like I'm confusing you. You feel me? But it's like that's like my thing was like I hope that I'm encouraging you to go actually learn what this shit mean rather than shutting the fuck down and saying, nah, I don't want to learn what it mean because now you trying to be like them. But you'll go into their spaces. You feel what I'm saying? You'll go into their full spaces and hear these same fucking words. You feel me? Hear these same fucking words. And then it's supposed to be there. It's not supposed to be here. Like I'm a slick talker. I'm trying to play you. No. It's just you feel like you this is a powerful sentiment. Because if Hekau are the words that, now and you're unwilling to learn, you're saying that this person, one person, I ain't gonna say which, one person has the permission to have the power over me versus the other person. But which person are you giving the power to? The one that looks like you or the one that doesn't? Hey, bro, for real though, at some point we gotta stop talking to women about masculinity and start talking to each other about it. And I mean really talk to each other. Not as enablers and co-signers, but as men trying to reach the pinnacle of our essence. And that's what the So Frail series does. So Frail 1 is the definition. So Frail 2 is the acknowledgement. And So Frail 3 is the resolution. If you rock with the So Frail conversations, I can guarantee you will rock with the So Frail series of books. So visit IamJustSeeing.com right now so you can add the series to your library. I promise you will never look at masculinity the same again, and you're going to stop wasting your time arguing with women about it. This is a conversation that men need to have between men, and it's time we start having this conversation now. Your oppressor is not going to teach you the skills to to be your oppressor is not gonna pay you to be the seat. They're not gonna pay you enough to be their neighbor. Come on now. You know that don't make no sense. But at the same time, I gotta give you these hekau. So I'm using that because I'm seeing that as the times are changing with us as men, like we need one. Not like on the collective. Fuck no, I would never share no fucking hekau with y'all, bro. Like, I mean, y'all maybe, I mean, on my, you feel me? Because I fucks with y'all, but not, nah, fuck that. Not on the collective, bro. Look at where money over bitches got us. I never share another hekau with y'all motherfuckers again. Money over bitches, money over everything. Fuck bitches, get money. I'm only gonna ride for my niggas. I'm down for my niggas. If you ain't trapping, kill yourself. Like, look at where the fuck the heck like the ones that I fucking participate. Like, look where it got us. We don't like women. You feel me? We don't we don't like women. You feel me? We don't we don't we don't we don't know how to handle business outside of fucking dumb shit. You feel me? We unnecessary we become financially irresponsible. You feel me? It's weird, bro. It's weird. Like these are the heck out that you feel me? And we know the heck out with mantras. Speaking of mantras, yo, if you actually look at the etymology of the word mantra, yo, it's crazy how what mantra means. Mantra derived from the word man, 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 and trust. So man means the mind. Man, mind means the mind, and then tra means steady. A mantra is used to steady your mind, right? So the words that you constantly use on repeat are supposed to steady your mind. What are they steadying your mind for? And this is the power of it. People think steadying your mind means my mind is still. No, it's focused. To steady your mind means your mind is focused on a specific thing. You feel what I'm saying? That song that you listen to every single day, it focuses your mind onto this particular idea. You feel me? This is why I tell people when you break up with somebody, you in a heartbreak, don't listen to breakup music. Why? It's helping me get over. No, it's not. It's helping you stay in the shit. The fuck? You're receiving the heck out. It's staying there. You feel me? And now you're going through life thinking that like motherfuckers think they stop hurting, they listen to some motherfucking music, they're gonna go like, you feel me? I know so many women who say shit. Like, well, not even women. I'm gonna say people, but it's just the women that I've spoken with that have said it. And I'm bringing it to. They would say the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because now that's gonna leave you with two people to get over. Because now you just transferring energies and you fucking shit up. You feel me? But when it comes to, what words we speaking and what mantras we actually put into our souls, like what the fuck are we doing? Everything that we align ourselves with, everything that we put into our motion begin and ends with words. It begins and ends with words. I just did the episode on innocence where I think I mentioned how when kids like terrible twos are like, that's why they bad until they two, because that's when their memory banks kick in and they can start remembering words and they can remember an energy associated with an experience. Until then, they have nothing all they can do is cry. This is why they have different cries. Like a motherfucker can tell you, yo, my baby cries differently when they need their diaper changed, when they hungry, when they this, when they that. They have different cries. They also have different laughs too, because this is how they're communicating. They only know two emotions. There's only two emotions. Everything else is a feeling and those feelings predicate how we have to exhibit one of these emotions, joy and pain. So a child laughs when they're experiencing joy. They cry when they're experiencing pain or discomfort. Now, what feelings lead to pain? Discomfort, irritation, annoyance, you know what I'm saying? Hunger. What things lead to joy? You feel me? These are feelings and energies that is already there. You feel me? That has to be codified. And once it's codified, it becomes words. And then now the terrible twos are terrible because you call them terrible. They're free. They're fucking free. They're inquisitive. They're trying to learn. They're trying to learn faster than you're willing to teach. And it's a shock treatment because they're associating now. and they're remembering shit. Can't just baby talk them. But now when you're baby talking them, now they can't communicate the correct way, so they're not giving the right hekau, so the experience and the energy is not delivered correctly. You dig what I mean? But how does this apply to us? Because all of our lives we've been spoken to and hearing a lot of words, but never the word or the words that are defining our lives. You feel me? Like when you think about one-liners, when you think about movies or some shit that has like one name, like you feel me? For example, cultural classic, Friday. Friday. That's a movie about one day. But when you think about it, what experience did that energy give off? And it was summed up as the word Friday and made into a movie to describe the experience of that Friday. One word. But in that, you can picture Smokey fucking up Big Worm's money. You can envision Craig hitting Debo with a brick. Debo slapping Nia Long's character. I always forget her name. Lisa. Is it Lisa? No, it's not Lisa. Lisa was who she played on Fresh Prince. Nia Long's character gets slapped. Felicia, you feel me? Need to borrow the VCR in the car in the microwave. Um, weird. You feel me? Craig girlfriend had a dude in the background. Like all of this is associated with the word Friday. Imagine all of the things that are in your life right now or over the culmination of your life that ever brought you peace. Imagine how would you sum that up? How would you sum that up as a collective? It doesn't have to be one word. It could be a sentence. It could be a structure. It could be whatever. How would you sum that up? Because using that alone can center you again. Let's say you have peace during whatever, and the word gopher is associated with peace somehow for you. And now you can make a gopher, and you know what I'm saying? Like you can make gopher associated with how you find peace. You feel me? Like I think last week, I think we just dropped the episode on phylogeny. Phylogeny is one of those words. Now, watch, watch, watch how phylogeny becomes a Hekau of power. Misogyny is already a Hekau of power. We know how much is associated with that shit. It's just one fucking word. It's a Hekau now. The moment energy is associated with experience and a word is connected to it, that is now a Hekau. That is a word of power. So again, I ask, what things when you look at your life over time, what Hekau do you have? Do you have positive Hekau? Do you have negative Hekau? What are you doing? And these are words of power, mantras, however. Like, what are you speaking over yourself? What words do you say on a regular basis on some random shit? Like, damn, you feel me? Damn is a Hekau. You feel me? Those are definitely Hekau. They are Hekau in the sense like that you put a lot of energy into that experience. And that moment you be like, fuck. It's like, yo, why'd you say fuck so hard? Because you think about all of the trickling shit that is associated behind that fuck that you just said. It's like, damn, bitch, cause this broke, this broke, this broke, this broke, this ain't fixed, this ain't work, this ain't work. Wow, all of that. Yes, fuck. Make a small mistake. Shit. You feel me? But this is the power of not owning the language and not, you know what I'm saying, having a language put on you, but not necessarily thoroughly comprehending it and needing to be in control of it. Because now you have to realize when you speak over your like what bear like this is not only the Hekau is not only like for like it's for everything. Your boundaries, like what things you're gonna put over your life, what shit you gonna tolerate, what shit you not, what shit's in harmony with you, what shit's in violation. It's a lot. So when you speak it, does it mean anything? You feel me? Like I've said peace, love, knowledge, and freedom for so fucking long. At first, I'm gonna tell you how it really came about. Like, and this is how it like segued into Hekau. But initially, it was because we was woke, we was waking up. I was always in the woke space, so it felt good to be home. Like I felt, oh, this is the woke community. These niggas, I ain't got a front like you feel me. I'm a hood dude no more. I wasn't fronting like I was a hood dude no more. But you feel me? I never wanted to be a hood dude. I always wanted to be like the person that I was and shit. But you feel me? But circumstances. So everybody was like peace and light, peace and blessings, or and shit like that. And me, I like to stand out and be different. So I was like, nah, it's peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. That's what, what I'm saying, I wanted to stand on. Interesting story. I think I told y'all this on the episode before. I got a tattoo, right, that says peace, freedom, love, and knowledge. I got the bitch out of order. Or peace, love, freedom, and knowledge, or some shit. Peace, love. Whatever it is, it's out of order, man. But hey, it's Hekau, nigga, and shit. It's it. It's still peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. But anyway, I started it with that. It was peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. And then it was like I don't know if it was a subconscious thing or unconscious thing, but it started to develop. And then one thing came into the other. The more I uttered peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, the more things started coming into my space to give me that. You feel me? At first, like the peace is the initial, like nothing else matters if I don't have peace. But to gain peace, there's something that I have to do. There's like, so things started coming into my space. And then when I started to realize what it means to actually have peace, what it means to actually be loved, what it means to actually have knowledge, you know what I'm saying? What it means to actually be free, that those are the things I started defining for myself. And I started to live my life according to how I wanted to. Once I started to affirm that, life wasn't hard anymore. I know a lot of people, like, you still went through your trials and shit, but it don't feel like you're going through your trials because it's for what you want to go through it for. But Hekau helps you get through that. It's like, yo, am I exhibiting this? You feel me? Our first exposure, well, I ain't gonna say our. My first exposure with a Hekau that really stuck with me was fucking Lion King, Hakuna Matata. It means no worries. You feel me? And even in a small glimpse of like Timon and Pumbaa had a deeper connection to Hakuna Matata than Simba did. But ultimately, they got when Simba got big, he had a different connection. But when they first introduced it to him, he was like, it was like Hakuna Matata. He was like, what? And Timon was like, yo, bad shit happens in this world. He said, you can't do nothing about it, right? He was like, right. He was like, wrong. When the world turn their back on you, you turn your back on the world. Bro, what did this motherfucker have to experience to where that's the philosophy of when the world turns their back on you, which leads to Hakuna Matata? No worries. I don't give a fuck. Timon and Pumbaa said, I don't give a fuck in a polite way. You see what I'm saying? But it became Hekau. They even made a song off of the shit. And then when they told the story, like, you feel me? When he was just a warthog, he found his aroma like a certain appeal. He cleared the savannah after every meal. I know the bars. I'm sorry. But Pumbaa was ashamed of himself. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's like Hakuna Matata. It means no worries for the rest of your days. It's our problem-free philosophy. You feel me? Hakuna Matata. That is a Hekau. And then they put it over music. And so when Simba was centering himself, I don't know if y'all caught this when Nala was talking to him when she was telling him about the pride lands and shit and how fucked up it was. And Simba was feeling that pain in that moment. He was like, what? Y'all starving? Y'all ain't got no food? But then he centered himself back and was like, it ain't my problem. I don't give a fuck. But he told her, he said, Hakuna Matata. I know I fucked up Lion King for y'all with that one, but like, yo, he looked at her, he said, Hakuna Matata. And I was like, what? He said, Hakuna Matata. It means no worries. It means I don't give a fuck. Fuck what you talking about. Because right now I have to use this Hekau to realign me with my carefree attitude. Because what you're doing is bringing me back out of the Hakuna Matata shit. You dig what I'm saying? I'm using that to say in your life every day there's something that brings you off your shit and you need to bring your shit right back. But it's not as simple as, oh, I'm gonna bring myself back because of this. Like, you ever hear the story? Like, you ever hear the story of Kobe when they talk about how there's a story of when he became the Black Mamba. Like, everybody got that story, right? They're like, yo, we know what night he became the Black Mamba, right? And it's the night when they say the night he was facing the court in the court cases and shit and everything. And he was like, it was like halftime. Then he had 2 points going out of the half, coming out of half and shit. And he went into the locker room and it was like when he went in there, he just sat down and was like, fuck it. And it was like, what? He's like, they could take everything from me, but they can't take basketball from me. He was like, they can take everything from me, but they can't take basketball from me. He said, if they beat me here, he said, they never beat me on the court. And the Mamba mentality was born. The Black Mamba was there. So now everybody see it as, oh, he just got this relentless shit. You don't know what energy was tied to what experience that codified those words, Black Mamba. This man was losing, he was facing losing everything he loved. Everything he loved. And almost lost that shit. You feel what I'm saying? It turned him into something totally different. You feel me? Just like when he said he changed his number to 24. They're like, why'd you change his number to 24? He was like, because. Everybody was like, oh, it's one over Jordan. No, I did it because there's 24 hours in a day, 24 seconds on the shot clock. You got to make every moment count. The symbolism hit different. You feel what I'm saying? It hits so much different when you create the Hekau. When it's yours, when it's like, yo, this is my shit. And I stand on this shit. In a way, this ties into branding as far as entrepreneurship, but more so it's, Hekau, like the word that encompasses everything that I mean for this shit. Feel me? Like y'all hear me say dead horses in water. I even made it a shirt, right? Shirt design, dead horses in water. Because I've learned in life, my experience codified this shit to say, look, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, and you cannot beat a dead horse. And in life, sometimes you end up doing both. And so when I'm like, yo, dead horses in water, that when I say that, dead horses in water, that's what I'm telling myself. Look, in that moment, give up. Not give up as far as quit. It's like, yo, you're arguing, you're talking to a brick wall. You'll never get through to this person because y'all perspectives are not the same. Dead horses in water. That's it. But that's the power of the Hekau. Instantly, you can stop me in my track. I ain't even about to argue with you. Like, you feel me? I'm not about to go back and forth with you because the Hekau, like I said, this is how it gets set up boundaries. Now it can create the world. I've uttered peace, love, knowledge, and freedom so much. I don't have a world that does. My world exists in that in some way, shape, or form. You cannot come into my space if you are able to access me, like we're able to speak, because in some way, shape, or form, you embody Palakafe. That's it. I don't let everybody don't come into this motherfucker. Everybody can't get into this motherfucker because of the way in which the Hekau is set up. The Hekau is set up for me to live a life that allows me to do the things that I want to do. And now this is the life that I have created. And this is the life that I want. So only the people that want to see this, you know what I'm saying, that can exhibit this behavior and exhibit, like they can appreciate it, can be in this space. Anybody else, they don't have access. They don't even want to come in here because it's not built for them. You feel what I'm saying? But it's like by uttering these words, simple word, and these simple string of words are constantly over and over again and built me for myself. So I ask you, my brothers, like, take some time, like, review your life. It's okay. Look, the good, like I told y'all, my good, my bad, my ugly, like I've been through it. And I still come back to Palakafe because all of that ties into this shit. You feel what I'm saying? Go through your good, go through your bad, your heartbreaks, your wins, your failures, everything. There's a common theme of your life that has molded you, that has helped you, and you can see the positive side of that shit. It could be anything. It can be something that relegates you down to an animal. It could be something that could be whatever. Not animalistically. I mean, like your Hekau could be tiger, or it could be koala. You know what I'm saying? Who the fuck knows? Motherfucker could be sloth. I don't know. But I would hope not. But because that's a wild Hekau. But um, all in all, it's what you choose to make your life capitalize under. You feel me? When you solidify that and you solidify what you want your Hekau to be, and now because that's the energy you want your life to be. That's the energy that you want to experience. When I say I want Palakafe, that is the experience. That is the experience that I'm tying energy to. And that's the energy I want to experience at all times. So to experience that energy, I have to have something to associate it to bring me back. You feel me? It's hard, but it's not hard. But the reason why it's hard is because the way in which they keep everything from us, bro. Like they make it so that we can look at life from the top with all of the details and decoration rather than the bottom with all the principles. You feel me? This now makes language easier to learn because you have an intention. I want to see what energy this is. And then when you take that language and you go through the syntax, the grammar, and all these other skills, and you learn them and you stop being distracted by what I have to see and learn how to spell and how I got to present all this shit for the people. And I can understand, what does this language show me how to communicate? Now I know the purpose of understanding this language this way. So now when I have to communicate how my experience is, now I know the importance. I communicate it this way, say this, use this inflection, this, that, and third. And now the more I do this, the more I create the life that I want to have for myself. And I tie it to a Hekau. You feel me? Now, mind you, I have a lot. I have a lot of Hekau. I have motherfucking Sia who and Heka. I think divine, I speak divine, I do divine. I have, of course, peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, Palakave. That's my number one. That is my number one Hekau. But there's other things that I say that it's like I have created an energy associated with an experience that makes this work for me. You feel me? The Ankh, symbolism, like all of this stuff is like what it is. Hekau is just a different form of symbolism. Symbolism is actual imagery, but this is words. Words hit different than the imagery because words can be seen without the sight. Words can be seen without the sight. That's why music is a more potent medium than visual is. Because you need the audio to make the visual make sense. You feel what I'm saying? Without the audio, the video doesn't make sense. But on the other side, you don't necessarily need a video to make the audio make sense because you've already experienced enough life that when you hear the words, you can create your own reality in it. That's the power of Hekau. That's why words are so potent. That's why words are so potent. And you need your word. What's your word? Sit down with yourself and have that moment where you like, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a word. You need your phrase. You need your whatever. Like I said, I have Siahu and Heka. I'm a king whose words command action. Um, I have peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. Um, I have I think divine, I speak divine, I do divine. What else? See who Hecka. Shit. I got what I saw in the mind, I see in the mirror. Um, I have the bellies of my kids will forever be full. Um, I have I don't know. I got so many. Oh, I got another one. This is one of my favorite ones. I have my vessel can't be gentrified. My vessel can't be gentrified. There's so many different levels, layers to that one, but that's one of my favorite mantras too. My favorite Hekau. My vessel can't be gentrified. You know, in so many regards, it lets you know where I stand as far as me and my people and shit. So it's a Hekau. You feel me? These are the things that sit with, man. Just sit with life. Sit with your life. Meditate, contemplate, go through the beginning, like see what themes are like, and develop something for yourself. It's like a brand. Like brand yourself in reality. Say this is who the fuck I am, and always come back to yourself. You feel me? Know the ways and the dynamics in which it's necessary for you to come back to yourself. There's going to be a lot of days in which you know what I'm saying, you don't feel it. You still got to come back. The fuck you mean? Like you can't just, oh, I feel it a little bit and I think I should do this. Nah, fuck that. Fuck that. You got to center you. Always, always. You have to fucking center you. You feel me? And if you don't fucking center you, you're gonna be lost. You're gonna be lost in the whole motherfucking sauce. And in being lost in the sauce, that's gonna that takes you off your game and off your pivot. Imagine being able to utter words and come back to your reality. You feel me? This is what chanting is about. Like when you hear people say, "Oh, you chant and shit like that," you got to know the reason. You got to know the reason behind the chant. You can't just be in there chanting and shit. Like I remember when I was learning meditation and I started meditating, and motherfucker, oh, I want to meditate. Well, what should I do? Should I just sit and meditate and chant Jesus all day? I don't know. The fuck is it gonna do for you? What does Jesus represent to you? What does Jesus mean? What is it? You feel me? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to understand something about Jesus, or are you trying to create a new, deeper obsession? Of course, motherfuckers out was petty and shit. I'm like, yo, what the fuck are you trying to, like? What are you achieving by chanting on, calling on this name? What does it do? Well, okay, are you gonna ask it for something? Are you trying to get its presence here? Like, what are you trying to do with it? Right? Because a lot of people don't understand that chanting, you need to understand the energy and everything behind what word you're speaking, because that's what the word is supposed to be for. Speaking of, I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna segue and pivot for a future episode, but just put the pin in this shit right here. It's like the word Jehovah. You feel me? That's the word that they say in the Bible to meditate on day and night. Jehovah, Yad He Vav He. Those four words, that word, Yad He Vav He, are those four letters of air, fire, water, and earth, the four elements. So when you're meditating on the word, you're meditating on those four elements, which is the four energies that those elements represent: air, fire, water, and earth, and what they do when they combine with each other, right? When they combine with each other, you get hot, cold, warm, and damp, right? In that regard, you also get Metatron's cube. It's crazy how it works because the geometric sides of how these elements combine together. So when you're meditating on the word, you're supposed to be meditating on the four elements. The elements break them down, and then you get the image and likeness that we're created in. You feel me? I'm gonna do the whole episode on that shit. I'm gonna just stop giving y'all glimpses of what it means. But when you that is a Hekau, right? Because now when I tell you that your deity is the highest conceptualization of your mind, but they named your deity for you and they told you how high your deity is. Nothing you can conceive in this world can go outside of the parameters of your deity's thought process. This is why they gave you the God and they gave you the book the God comes from. This is why motherfuckers is still relying on shit from 3,000 years ago, acting like the shit is still relevant now, because they can't outthink beyond the highest conceptualization of their mind. For Christians, it's God. You feel me? Where does God live? Within the Bible. You can only go above the constructs of what the Bible represents that God is. That's it. That's as high as your mind can go. For Islamic people, it's Allah. Your mind can go no higher than Allah. Buddhist, your mind can go no higher than Buddha. Like the highest conceptualization of your mind, right? Now, when you understand that word and then you understand everything associated with it, you don't think that there's anything outside of your world. That's the power of a Hekau. That's the power of a Hekau. It can literally liberate you or captivate you permanently. Imagine speaking a certain word, or imagine your imagine the first couple words that you're able to speak and thoroughly understand come from a language that teaches you to be a slave. It doesn't matter what you perceive for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter what color you make the deity. It doesn't matter what you do. The programming is already set and the Hekau is set. To utter the words, I am a Christian, means what? To utter the words, I am a Muslim, means what? Because what you utter with I am is damn near parallel to your Hekau. If anything, it makes it a lot more impactful because you accept that I am, boom, this is me. I am a Christian. Christian, when you think about whatever it is you say you are, what is the deity of it that you say you are? And that's as high as you're going to think in that shit. So the highest conceptualization of whatever you say you are, that's as high as you'll go in that. This is because there's no higher than that. You feel me? So now, if I say I am a Christian, right? And now I can know the highest conceptualization of Christianity is the deity, which is God or whatever. Now, God is a jealous God, wrathful God, vengeful God. My mind cannot go higher than those expressions. God ain't joyful. God ain't joyous. He ain't happy. He ain't nice. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, how can you be a good person when your deity isn't good, but you're believing under the perception that your deity is good, but Every time your deity shows up, they do bad shit. Pedophilia, getting 16-year-olds pregnant, infidelity, getting 16-year-olds pregnant who are married to other men. It's weird, bro. It's weird because certain shit can be done a certain way, but it's okay because it's defined within the realm of the Hekau. All of that is okay as long as it's still within here. You see what I'm saying? Anything outside of that is instantly labeled and deemed demonic. That's how they fuck people up. It's like, I'm gonna give you the highest conceptualization of your mind, of your deity. I'm gonna give you the book that the deity resides in and show you that your mind cannot go outside of this. Your mind cannot leave outside of this, and anything outside of that is the devil. Tell me I'm lying, and tell me that's not the setup of how black people think right now. Tell me that's not the setup of how we think. This is what I'm saying. With us as men, as masculine, we need to challenge our shit. Our hekau come from women. Because I said our spiritual system is usually the women that we come out of or the women that we going into. We don't take the time to actually develop our own spiritual connection because we follow the ones that, if we actually analyze and deconstructed our spiritual systems, we will find they're not spiritual systems. So when it comes to the hekau that is used to bind us, God is the highest conceptualization of your mind. That means you can't think outside of what God tells you to think or what you perceive God to tell you to think. Anything outside of that automatically is going to step into the realm of the devil. Crazy reality is that God created the devil. So anything that is in the devil's realm is automatically in God's realm because God created the devil. It's not hard at all sometimes, but it is because of the fear that is now internalized. Because a lot of people think God is an entity and a being rather than a conceptualization of the mind. And it was a conceptualization that you didn't conceptualize. That's why I said when we took it back to the beginning, when I was talking about how people get in those pockets where they say, I saw God, describe him. Nobody's ever seen God's face. Because you can't, because you are already told in your lexicon from your book, you can't see God's face. So you will literally create a circumstance where you can see the him, you can see from the neck down, like they'll show you, and that's how you perceive God, because they don't want you to know what God really looks like. Because to know what God really looks like means you put a book down and you look in a mirror, and it changes the dynamic of who you are. You feel what I'm saying? So as men, our Hekau is different. This is one of the reasons why it's like analysis and deconstruction is, I'm going to say this and I'm going to start trying to bring it home, wrap it up. Analysis and deconstruction is important to the foundational pieces of pushing the world forward, right? When they captured and enslaved the men, when they captured and enslaved us, they had to give us the religion too to tame us, right? Because the religion gave us the highest conceptualization of the God, right? Which puts us in the box of what that God represents. The highest conceptualization of the God wants us to be slaves. This is why we don't sit, and this is why, if you look at the naming of all of the shit that, like, we keep doing foundational Black Americans, descendants of the slaves, everything we want to be remembered so we can fit within the lexicon they told us to fit in, which is in the Christianity faith, or the, you know what I mean? So you can sit within that pocket. And that you're sitting in that pocket, you can be pushed no higher than the highest conceptualization of the mind, which is the God, which it tells you y'all were enslaved. Y'all were supposed to be enslaved because y'all don't listen. Y'all will never listen, so y'all will always be enslaved. That's crazy. That's how you enslave somebody for eternity. You tell them what their highest conceptualization of the mind is, and you don't let them leave out of that highest conceptualization. Black people, if they don't read anything else, there is no other book in their house, they will have a Bible. Hmm. I knew a motherfucker who told me you can't be, because it was when I went plant-based, they were like, you must have learned something in them books that you was up there reading that made you want to stop. I was like, yes. And they told me, well, you can't believe everything you see in them books. I said, don't you read the Bible? Fucked up the whole family function and shit. That's all I always do, but it's like, don't start talking that stupid shit, because our lexicons are different. And for one, because I understand Hekau which is wild because it's right there in the book. It says there's power, life, and death in the tongue. Hekau has enough energy, like there is enough energy to either promote life or death, and like with the words you speak. And see, a lot of times people think death is physical death. No, death can also be stagnation. Death can also be complacency. Death can also be no fucking forward movement. By believing that you're waiting on miracles to just randomly pop up and not having action, the faith without the works part, hmm, heck, who can do that? That is a part of death. So it's like when people say, I want this to happen, but you don't have any, you don't put the energy behind the experience. You just talk. That's why there's no speech. Speech is different. And as us as men, for my brothers, like we have to get to a point where we can speak again. This is why the Black Panther Party has to be demonized because of the Hekau that it left as the Black Panther. This is the whole Wakanda Forever theme. That shit that was to erase the Black Panthers, y'all. This ain't no this man. Come on, watch. In 10 years, you'll know more about Wick. You know about Wakanda than you know about Wick. And some of us probably never even knew that Wick was originally created by the Black Panther Party, but it's now given. Like, ain't that some shit? Think about how fucked up this is. The Black Panther Party for self-defense created the Wick program. The government stole the Wick program and put it as a welfare thing for Black women. That the Black Panther Party was serving as the men that were supposed to be in the home protecting and feeding and shit, and then now the government took their shit and used it in the communities that promote the welfare, and you got to keep the man out of the home to get the welfare. That's sad. That's fucked up. But when it's all said and done, you won't remember the Black Panther anymore. You'll remember Chadwick Boseman. You'll remember Wakanda Forever. But Huey Newton, Bobby Seale, uh, the founders, like all of that, it's gone. It's about to start being erased. It's one of the reasons why they're trying to erase certain shit out of the histories and all of that. They erasing us and we let them, because now we can't teach our kids anyway because we don't have the luxury of doing it. We still got to send them to their schools. Everybody complaining, oh, you're erasing it. Like I don't get mad at you. I'm not mad at you for trying to not teach the whole story of the history. I'm not mad at you for that. I'm mad at myself for thinking that I want you to teach the whole story. Nah, I'll find the rest, but I'll learn how to play your story. But all of that is going to derive back into developing the Hekau. As men, we need Hekau for ourselves, Hekau for our family, Hekau for the bigger picture of our lives. Because once you start to speak that, you need a foundational piece. You need the grounding foundational piece that centers your entire life to let you stay on track. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom is mine for me because everything that I build is tied to that. I put it in everything. If you read my books, Peace, Love, Knowledge, and Freedom is at the end. I begin and end the podcast with Peace, Love, Knowledge, and Freedom. All of my courses, like everything is rooted in peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. So much so that when I say it, it's like, if it's not within this realm, I can't fuck with it. Right? Because that's the philosophy that I have to, that makes me drive. Now, when I interact with people who, it's like, so what do you do about people who's, well, if your philosophy don't align with mine, it don't work. But that's where collaboration comes in. I'm not competing with nobody for philosophy. Now we can collaborate because my outlook on life is like this. Your outlook on life is like that. Cool. Now let's see where we can find these two. Does Cafe work with what you do? If not, cool. We can, you know what I mean? It's all good, but we can collaborate and we don't have to compete. I ain't competing with nobody. But my Hekau ensures that I don't have to, because it ensures that it keeps me on point to where I'm only in a collaborative space. But these are all factors that I had to factor in. So I'm telling you, as my brothers and shit, take some time to define your life. Don't go back. I don't mean like describe the events that, like, no, sit back and really define your life. Like, what is this? What is some non-negotiable shit that from at 7, 9, and 16 and 30 and 26, you experience this exact same thing all those times. That's universal. That's something that has to go into your shit. And then when you get your shit condensed and you can like make a statement about the shit, like, yo, this is how I get down. This boom. And when you get to where this is my Hekau, when I say this, it encompasses everything that is in me, that is me, good, bad, and or whatever, and brings me back into my full absolute alignment. So I can continue on with my mission and continue on doing what I need to do. And then utter those words, keep those words in your mind, keep speaking them, keep going keep going the distance to making sure that they are in you. Because once they hit your unconscious mind, then reality just starts to play out and then you start to just live it. That's how you make a lifestyle. That's how you make your life what it is. Like motherfuckers be wanting to be entrepreneurs, but don't want to create the hekau that turns them into an entrepreneur. That creates the experiences. It's just when they utter certain things, it's like, this is what it is. You got to know that when you utter a word, you have to utter the full energy that comes with it in order for it to stick on how you need it to stick. Feel me? If you're not going to be willing to do that shit, then words of power will be pushed over you. And with the words of power pushed over you, you're going to exhibit the power that somebody else wants you to have. Right? So what power are you going to have over yourself? That's the real question. That's the ultimate question, because that's going to translate into what you view for the rest of your life, what your kids are going to develop under, what your spouse is going to be under, what your grandkids, great, like the whole bloodline is dependent upon what your lexicon is right now. Your whole bloodline is contingent upon what your Hekau is right now. And is your Hekau bloodline worthy? Because your bloodline is going to determine if it's worth it or not. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes Merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. That's pretty much all I got for that. Yeah, Hekau. It's Hekau, like I said, it's a Kemetic word. It means words of power. I like using Hekau because I like going back to the roots, man. I'm not saying that we all came from Kemet, but Kemet is the last remnant of everything that we built. This is why I tell y'all you got to go back to Egypt, then you got to go up from Kemet, and then you go out. You run into Nubia, you run into Kush, you run into Maya, the Inca, the Aztec, Omitians. Like you run into these different things and realize that this was all us. But Hekau is the last thing, the last remnant. So that's what I got to go by. I don't want to be on I'm not on no Hotep type shit where I'm just sticking on Egypt. No, I'm sticking on everything here. That's why I eventually reached the point where I call myself, where I say we have genetics of dominance. I don't look at myself as a landmass person. Like I'm American, I'm here, I am genetically dominant. Nobody can argue me with that shit. And it's like, and because I know the Hekau that comes with that. Genetics of dominance, I hold that shit, like, you feel me? And I love it. You feel me? I love it. But more importantly, I love the way in which Hekau works in my life. I go through a lot of shit. But the biggest foundational piece that I wanted to maintain was that peace, love, knowledge, and freedom is always the forefront. So I uttered the words Cafe. I needed, I got the shirts, I got, what I'm saying, the different symbolisms as far as the Cafe clothing. Those are for me. I need to be reminded, you know what I'm saying? And it's like that's how I'm thinking that's just how I look at how life works. You need to constantly set yourself up to be reminded of the things that you're supposed to be reminded of. That way you're reminded unconsciously and it just does it. You know what I mean? Me wearing Cafe. That's why I changed it from Just Scenes merch to Cafe clothing. So when I wear Cafe, it's not like, I'm wearing like, no matter what I have on, this is all under Cafe clothing. So it's all Cafe. So when I wear it, it's all peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. And it always reminds me what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, with myself, what I do this for, why I do this, who I do it, because there's so much experience attached to it. So when you, on the other hand, are building yours and you coming up with yours and shit, find out the things that break down these two. Your Hekau is going to be derived from two realities, right? The balance between two realities. You're gonna think of the thing that brought you the most joy and the thing that hurt you the most, right? It's gonna hurt. Healing, going through this process is gonna, think about the thing that brought you the most joy, and then start to write. Just write down whatever you feel out of those things, whatever those things gave you. You feel me? Whether what you were doing, what you had on, all of this shit. Like let your shit flow and just keep writing until you have nothing else to write. Do that on both sides. Then keep reading these things. The two opposing things, keep reading them. The reason why I'm saying I'm using the extreme, the one that hurt you the most and the one that gave you the most joy, is because it's easier to find off of extremes than trying to go through each individual piece. But when you go through the highest extreme, you find there's a point where, again, antithesis, there's a point where there's the exact same thing being said. There's a theme that you do, good or bad, that it's going to show up in your life. And it's going to be evident in the thing that brings you the most joy and the thing that brings you the most pain. And when you find that thing, that is what you define. Those are the things in which you'll see, okay, bad. Now, how do I codify this to make this a affirmation or something that reminds me, oh, this is who you are. This is what you're looking for. This is what your life was supposed to be like. This is the thing that you're going for. Utter this phrase. You feel me? It's not enough just to go and steal somebody's quote. That's not enough. Like from one of the, I use poverty is painful. It is, but my energy behind poverty is, but when I wear that shirt, that hoodie, whatever, I feel a different way. It's a reminder. When I don't feel like making a ad set, when I don't feel like doing some B-roll or getting some new copies to, you know what I mean, to run I don't feel like doing shit, I put that shirt on. And it's like, all right, bro, poverty is painful. Handle your fucking business. But again, that's a hekau because of what it is associated with me. There's a lot of things in your life that you gotta, let's see, I'm telling you, you just gotta, when you find that one thing and you can focus that and you find how big you want it to encompass, like use it. Leverage it and let that be your centering point. You'll see how everything else reverberates. And you'll start to see the commonalities in the things in your life. Because now you know where you are no matter what the situation is. You feel what I'm saying? Like I said, when I broke down the good and bad, like the thing that brought me the most joy and the thing that hurt me the most, the common thing became peace, love, knowledge, and freedom because it was when I didn't have control. That's why I say peace is the control of chaos, not the absence of it. It was like I didn't have control over my life. Shit was just chaotic. And I wanted that control. You feel me? Love, I misinterpreted and had it all fucked up. You feel me? Knowledge was fucked up because everything that I thought I knew, people would play with me. And it was just reaffirming belief. And I didn't really know shit. And then freedom. I never really had freedom. Never really had freedom. I was just always granted permission. And I thought it was freedom until I wanted to do something that was freedom. And then realized, oh, wow. Okay. And when I found those four pillars, no matter what I did in my life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, those four things can't stay consistent. Those were the four things that I wanted, that I needed to have in my life consistently. So I codified them. And now that's all I look for. I just shed all the other shit because the other shit is irrelevant. Because that shit is sporadic. It doesn't show up consistently in my life. Sometimes, but these four things show up consistently in my life. So that is my life in a way. So I don't have to focus on other things. I can focus on what my life is built on and I can build according to that. So when I write my books, everything is like, yo, you feel me? You can see peace, love, knowledge, and freedom in everything that I do. So that's what I do. And so I'm saying that to say this: we as men have to get back to the Hekau and get back to codifying ourselves as this is who I am. And codifying like this is what I want my life to be pertained around. And you know what I'm saying? Like there's certain shit that we have to get back to. And the Hekau is going to be that. It's going to help give us our foundational piece to help us resonate with the right energies. You feel me? But we define that. We codify that. And we got to go into the archives and understand that within ourselves and say, this is who I am and how I have to use my reality. And then you create your Hekau, the necessary ones to get you through your day, to help you stay grounded, to, keep you, where you need to be. And then you'll see what heck. And after you do that, listen to your music palette and you'll see your music palette does encompass your Hekau too. You feel me? It may not be the Hekau that you want to be positively pushing you in life, but it is a Hekau nonetheless. And there's a theme of all of the music that you listen to right now. You feel me? Pay attention to it because that is showing you the energy that you're trying to get an experience out of and put words to. And once you put words to it, you just affirm it. So I want all of y'all to get to that point. Like I said, I can't gain unless I give, and this is something that I never wanted to share information like this because it's like you feel me. But y'all need to know, set yourselves up and get your shit right. All right, get your Hekau in order and go study some Hekau and really internalize words of power. So that way, when you say them, you can harness the power of those words and use them to manifest your life. But I'm gonna go into there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And our sons, they can learn Hekau early. You feel me? Teach them something that teaches like they know the power of Hekau. This is why they this and they know the power of Hekau in regards to our kids. This is why they make our kids want to be superheroes. And they create the imagery of the superhero. Because that is their Hekau. I am Spider-Man. I am Batman. I am Superman. I am Iron Man. I am this. Like that becomes their Hekau. And then they get the toys and they get all the other shit that helps reaffirm the experience and the energy and build everything to it. So when they say I am Iron Man or they say I am this person, let your kid have their own Hekau and be their own superhero. I'm not saying, make them one, but I'm just saying like teach them the game of their own Hekau that they say these words. And this is because think about it. When they put on the cape, they try to fly. Who they try to fly like? Superman. Motherfuckers literally had to put a tag on a cape that says you cannot fly with this on because motherfuckers try to fly. You feel me? Because the Hekau was a Hekau that wasn't theirs, but they didn't understand the conceptualization of how that was supposed to play out in their mind. So they try to fly. Nah, you got to teach them the power of their own Hekau and develop that within themselves. You feel me? You can teach them by first understanding yours and then developing their own. But make sure that your child, your son, has his own Hekau, especially by going into his teenage years. Because if not, he's gonna be programmed by money over bitches. He's gonna be programmed by bitches ain't shit. He's gonna be programmed by that shit early, and then that's gonna be the shit that he uses up in his 20s. You feel me? And it could potentially fuck his life up and do whatever to him. But I'm gonna go in there, go kiss your babies, make sure they eat their vegetables, and I'm gonna see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, freedom. I'm out.